Here it is, the brand new Viltrox 85mm 1.4 Pro lens. I will test this lens for my Sony E mount. This lens will also be available for the Nikon Z mount. In this video we will find out together whether you need the original or whether this much cheaper alternative is just as good. We tested the 85mm on the Sony a7R5 and my a7C Mark II. This lens contains 15 elements in 2 groups. Included is the lens hood, a protective bag, and of course the lens. At first glance, the Viltrox makes an extremely good impression. We have a metal housing here and you need a 77mm filter for the front element. For example, as an ND filter for filming in daylight with a blurred background using a log profile. Of course, the sturdy construction also brings weight with it. At just under 800 grams, it is not really a light fixed focal length, but compared to my RF 85 1.2L, it is a featherweight. The inner part sounds strange. Something moves inside this lens when you lift it. I think this is normal but still unusual for me. On the side we find a switch for the autofocus manual focus, an aperture ring with clicks or stepless adjustments, and the large focus ring. It runs smoothly with nothing to complain about. You can customize the button on the side via the Sony menu. For example, you can use it to change the focus field or active tracking. Very practical, just give it a try. The first question I ask myself, is this lens sharp or not? Of course it is. The right mix of aperture, ISO and shutter speed makes all the difference. Add to this the focus point in the right place and nothing stands in your way of a sharp photo. Compared to the Sony 85mm 1.4 G Master, I personally don't see any difference. But that's because I don't have a Sony 85 1.4. I still see sharp photos and that's what matters, once with a 60 megapixel and once with a 30 megapixel camera. Unfortunately, Viltrox didn't used to have autofocus. That's made the lenses completely useless for me. It saved me money but not my nerves. That's why I'm all more pleased that autofocus has finally found its place here too. The closer I get to the camera, the more difficult it is for the camera to focus. But this could also be due to the close focusing distance of just under 80 centimeters. The tracking worked great, even with an extremely small focus field for details. In photo mode I had the odd dropout when moving quickly, for example in this photo when I was turning. The head should still have been in focus even though there are no eyes to be seen. As soon as I turned back towards the camera recognized me again and continued tracking. I'm usually a bit skeptical when it comes to somewhat cheaper lenses, for example when it comes to chromatic aberrations. Here and there you will find a green fringe, but I've never seen it as bad as on my Canon EF 50mm 1.2L lens, and that was anything but cheap. Incidentally, the Viltrox 85mm copes extremely well with trail lights, neither extremely pronounced nor in any way worse than with other lenses, but see for yourself with the following shots. The vignetting is very pronounced, however no longer as with other lenses at open aperture of f1.4. Some people like it, others not so much. However, this can be corrected in a few seconds using Adobe Lightroom. .85mm is always an ideal focal length for portraits, plus the 1.4 aperture, very good combination. The 85mm kept tracking the eyes, once not moving as quickly as shown before, so great experience for taking photos of people. Another reason for the 85 1.4 is of course the bokeh, in other words the background blur. With a 1.4 aperture you no longer see anything of the background or foreground. Not only great for portraits, but also great for details in the city or nature. You should definitely use an ND filter for videos, especially if you're filming in log using fixed ISO and shutter speeds. This is my recommendation, I'll link it below. Super nice for such shots, a really good lens especially for lifestyle, weddings, fashion and street. In the past, expensive was the only way to go. Today, good no longer has to be expensive. My personal conclusion about the Viltrox 85mm 1.4 Pro is quite positive. A digital display like on other Viltrox lenses has been omitted. What I don't have with any other lens, I don't miss with this lens either. The stable construction, the common 77mm thread, the programmable side button and the aperture ring are really pro elements that I can no longer do without. In terms of sharpness, I was skeptical at first, but then pleasantly surprised. The autofocus and tracking also work great with AI chips, as used by the A7R5 and the A7C2, without any problems. The closest focusing distance is unfortunately not less than 80 centimeters, but it's normal for such a focal length. Incidentally, the firmware can be updated directly on the lens via USB-C. How did you like these pictures? Do you have the original or would you like to test this version? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Thank you. You can find my supporter link in the video description with a discount code for this lens. Thank you very much and see you next time from Frankfurt, Germany, here on The Daniel Life.